The Eastern Front trembled under the weight of silence before dawn, the kind of silence that only war can create. It was not peace, but the heavy, expectant stillness that comes before destruction. The air hung thick with the smell of oil and gunpowder carried by the wind. Far beyond the mist-covered fields, the faint glow of distant artillery flashes painted the horizon. Every soldier knew that the quiet would not last. Somewhere beyond that line, something was about to happen, something that would change the course of the battle. Inside a hidden command post dug deep beneath the frozen earth, members of the Azov Brigade prepared for a mission unlike any other. The dimly lit bunker was alive with quiet intensity. Screens flickered with satellite images, maps were spread across metal tables, and the low hum of radio chatter filled the air. These weren't ordinary soldiers. They were highly trained operators, men and women who had spent months mastering the art of modern drone warfare. Their eyes were locked on their targets, their hands steady on the controls. Above them, thousands of feet in the air, their creation, a swarm of precision-guided drones, awaited the command to strike. The target was clear, a Russian tunnel complex hidden within the hills east of the Dnipro. Intelligence reports indicated it was being used as a vital supply route, moving ammunition, food, and reinforcements straight to the front lines. The tunnel was nearly invisible from the air, shielded by camouflage nets and disguised entrances. For months, Russian engineers had used it to stay one step ahead of Ukrainian artillery. But tonight, Azov intended to end that advantage once and for all. Through the cold, dim light of early morning, the drones lifted silently into the sky, dark shapes merging with the fading stars. The operators inside the bunker followed every movement through infrared cameras, their screens glowing with sharp outlines of ridges, trees, and fortifications. The drones moved like predators, patient, precise, and deadly. Each carried a small but powerful explosive charge, capable of cutting through concrete and steel. Every flight path had been programmed in advance, every second timed to perfection. Then came the order, a single word whispered through the radio: execute. At once, the sky came alive. The first drone dove sharply from its holding pattern, its rotors slicing the air as it sped toward the tunnel entrance. On screen, the target locked, a faint heat signature marking the reinforced doorway. A brief flash, and then impact. The explosion tore through the hillside like thunder, hurling dirt and fire into the air. The ground shook for miles. For a moment, nothing but chaos. Then, through the smoke, the second drone descended, striking deeper into the exposed tunnel shaft. Another detonation followed, brighter, louder, collapsing the entire entryway and trapping everything inside. Russian radio channels erupted in confusion. Frantic voices overlapped, commanders shouting for evacuation, engineers screaming for power, and communications that no longer existed. Inside the bunker, the Azov operators listened in silence, monitoring the collapse. They didn't celebrate, they didn't cheer. They simply moved to the next phase of the plan. A secondary wave of drones launched automatically, scanning for survivors, vehicles, or reinforcements attempting to reach the tunnel. Within minutes, several armored trucks appeared on thermal cameras, fleeing down a dirt road leading west. The drones changed course, descending rapidly. One by one, they struck their targets with unerring accuracy. Explosions bloomed across the valley like fiery flowers, lighting up the dawn. When the dust finally settled, the once hidden Russian supply network was gone, reduced to broken rock, smoldering metal, and silence. What had taken weeks to construct was erased in minutes. The strike was swift, surgical, and devastating. It was more than a tactical victory. It was a psychological blow, one that sent shockwaves through the Russian lines. For months, the enemy had relied on this tunnel to sustain its eastern advance. Now, Cut off and disoriented, their front began to falter. News of the destruction spread quickly across Ukrainian channels. Commanders hailed it as one of the most successful drone strikes of the war, a textbook example of precision, coordination, and technological mastery. Even Western military analysts were stunned. Satellite images taken hours later confirmed the destruction. The hillside had caved in completely, and the entire underground structure was buried under tons of debris. Not a single Russian soldier inside had made it out. For the Azov Brigade, this was more than revenge, it was evolution. Once known for fierce ground assaults, they had now become experts in a new kind of warfare. Gone were the days of trench-by-trench combat. This was the age of silent killers in the sky. Each drone strike represented not just destruction, but adaptation, proof that even under immense pressure, Azov could innovate faster than its enemy. The brigade had combined courage with precision, transforming every battle into a calculated strike. Inside the command post, the operators reviewed the mission footage. The room was filled with the soft hum of machines and the flicker of screens replaying explosions in slow motion. The operators didn't speak much. They didn't need to. Each of them understood what they had just accomplished and what it meant for the days ahead. For them, victory wasn't celebration. It was preparation. They knew the Russians would retaliate. They always did. And when that time came, Azov would be ready. Beyond the bunker walls, the front lines were shifting. The collapse of the tunnel forced Russian convoys to reroute through open terrain, exposing them to Ukrainian artillery and drone fire. Supply shortages began to appear, ammunition shipments were delayed, morale sank. What had been a small tactical operation was now rippling across the entire front, changing the rhythm of the war itself. In Kyiv, military analysts described the strike as a turning point in unmanned warfare. Drones were no longer secondary tools. They had become the decisive force of the modern battlefield. The Azov Brigade's success had proven that precision and intelligence could achieve what artillery and manpower could not. It was a lesson that echoed far beyond Ukraine, across every nation watching this new era of conflict unfold. But for the soldiers on the ground, it wasn't theory. It was survival. As the day faded into night, the battlefield once again grew silent. The fires from the destroyed tunnels still burned faintly, sending smoke curling into the darkening sky. The silence returned, not peaceful, but haunting. Somewhere out there, the next mission was already being planned. The Azov Brigade never stopped moving, never stopped adapting. Their resolve was forged in hardship, their precision honed by necessity. In a small corner of the command post, a young operator leaned back from his console, his eyes red from hours of focus. He removed his headset and looked up at the monitor one last time, the image of the collapsed tunnel glowing faintly on screen. For a brief moment, he allowed himself a small, weary smile. Then he turned off the display and walked away, ready for whatever came next. This was modern warfare, fast, invisible, and merciless. A war fought not only with weapons, but with intelligence, data, and courage. The Azov Brigade had mastered the balance between technology and human determination. Every mission they launched carried both precision and purpose. Each drone strike was not just an explosion, but a message that no matter how deep the enemy hid, no matter how fortified their defenses, Ukraine's defenders could reach them. The world is watching as this new kind of warfare unfolds, a silent revolution led by men and women who refuse to back down. And as long as the Azov Brigade continues to fight, one truth remains unshaken. Courage, innovation, and unity can overcome even the most powerful of foes. Subscribe now to Delta History and witness the untold stories of modern warfare, heroic operations, and the brave soldiers who shaped the battles of our time. From the shadows of the front lines to the skies above, follow the journey of those who fight for freedom, precision, and survival. Stay with us Every mission has a story, and every story deserves to be told.